Welcome to the Woodpreneur Podcast, the best podcast for the business and marketing side of the sawmill, lumber, and wood industry. What's a woodpreneur? If you have a business where you make money as a woodworker, sawmill owner, selling slabs, or a content creator, then you're a woodpreneur. My name's Steve Larziliere, and I started Woodpreneur Life, Acres of Timber, and the Woodpreneur Podcast just for makers, wood entrepreneurs, and small business owners just like you. We're on a mission to empower thousands of wood businesses to grow sustainably and put out great products. Each week, I interview makers, sawyers, content creators, and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that know the wood industry inside and out. With topics covering everything from the urban lumber movement, sustainable sourcing and design, we'll discuss the ins and outs of how to grow, monetize, and fully immerse yourself in the woodpreneur lifestyle. If you're a hobbyist, a full-time wood business owner, part-time entrepreneur who wants to become a content creator, or quit your day job to pursue your dreams, the Woodpreneur Podcast is just for you. Thanks so much for listening. Now enjoy this episode.
Welcome to a brand new era of the Woodpreneur Podcast. I'm your new host, Jennifer Alger. And you might be asking, well, where's Steve? Well, don't worry. Steve is working on a brand new podcast that focuses on architects, designers, and builders. But right here, we're going to be doubling down on what I know well: sawmills, the woodworking community, and the business that is lumber. I'm a longtime advocate of urban wood utilization and small sawmill businesses. We are going to be bringing on guests who truly get it. People like you who are shaping the future of the wood industry. So get ready for real talk, expert insights, and stories that fuel your passion. Speaking of shaping the future of the wood industry, today we have Marji Medina with It's Not Trash. So Marji, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to decide to build a business around stuff not being trash.
Hi. It actually starts with my youth. I grew up with blue collar high school dropout parents. I'm the oldest of 5 children. And my dad primarily supported us by going to the local dump and finding scrap metal, and all my toys were from there. I was allowed to go with him and get out if the big cats weren't running. And that's if I get $5 for every bag of cans. And I found all my G.I. Joes and toys, and everything we owned was kind of reclaimed. My mom's father was a large redwood sculptist. He did the Great Peak Sea Sail and the original Dr. Dolittle. He did a lot of stuff in Planet of the Apes, scene set for Lost in Space, famous sculpture in Harold and Maude. That was across the street from the high school, and that was my after-school job.
And that was your, who was that?
That's my mom's grandfather, Short Studios. So he was an amazing artist. Yeah, I'm a 4th generation carpenter. There's literally carpenters on both sides of the family going back generations.
Wow.
My dad though was a bit of a hoarder. Well, not a bit. My dad was a full-blown extreme hoarder. Like, there was a pile in the corner of fishing pole pieces that was probably 7 feet by 7 feet, that he needed all of them. I actually did not want anything to do with any of this. They were all poor. They were all like a lot of artists, or, just they were constantly borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. There was never, and so I went to school. I wanted to go into business. I was a VP of sales before I started this company. I was like, I want a white picket fence, a mortgage, and a car payment, and a suit, and a bouquet. Like, I want an email that I have to have code. Like, I was like, I just running away. And then when my wife and I met and we moved in, we didn't have any furniture, and I couldn't find. There was like 2 options. There's 2 lanes. There's the, $2.99 bed made out of particle board, chemical sawdust glue, and wood kissed by angels that's like $9,000. I'm like, I can't afford that, and I do not want that. I know what real wood is. And so I went in the streets of LA and I found all of our furniture, kind of fixed it up. And my friends were like, wait, you know how to do that? I'm like, yeah, does everybody know how to use a drill and a saw? And so I started like flipping it on the weekends for petty cash, because it was a hobby that paid for itself. And then friends told friends that told friends. And like, just all of the, I realized that artists aren't poor because artists are poor. Artists are poor because they build houses without foundations. Because when you tell them to get a business degree, they go, ew, I don't like the ugly cement work. I don't want to do that. I just want to build a pretty house and it keeps falling down. And they're like, I don't understand. I'm like, well, what's your client acquisition cost? And they're like, oh, I don't do that. I'm just going to make a prettier widget and then they'll come. If I just make a better thing, I'm just going to work on my craft. And it doesn't work that way. But I came from the business background. So it was like a really big full circle. I took the seeing things as potential from my father, the woodworking skills of understanding how to build and engineering, and then my business skills that I learned by running away from my family business. And it just naturally, I gave myself the advice that people paid me for. And now 14 years later, here I am with a, pretty successful small business.
That's great. It's funny is I grew up in the wood industry doing things that I was like, wait, doesn't everyone have to use, a chainsaw or something at some point in their life or drug the skid steer? I don't know.
Yeah, you clog the choke. Like, come on.
But I also ran from it. I hated it. I hated every second of it as a child, I thought. And I left. I ran away. I not ran away, but soon as I could, I'm like, no, I want a business where I can wear the pretty, the pretty dresses and the business suits and I want the little name tag and I want to be in the cubicle. Oh no, it wasn't what I thought it was. And I came back. So I am glad that you came back as well, but that you're not a starving artist. You got the art stuff, but you're taking that and you're building on it and combining your natural art, our artistic skills with business skills. That's beautiful. And we love following your page. Very cool. Very cool. So you kind of got into it. Tell me more about those, like what happens to your furniture versus maybe some other furniture? Like if you'd have bought that $2.99 chemical infused plyboard that everybody had in their house, where would that be today?
In the landfill.
In the landfill.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I say it a lot with my clients. Now that I'm not in corporate, I can say these things. You can't shine shit.
Okay.
You can't scratch a laminate.
But using stuff from the landfill.
Yeah, so sometimes it is just trash.
But you're pulling quality stuff out that people discarded. So there is a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like there's a lot of things like that you need to know. One, I mean, obviously you need to know if a board has termites or that had bed bugs, or you can see these things, and that's really the origins. I would just find the things. The business has evolved so much because I was, making 4 to 10 items of furniture a month. It was just me in a basement with ventilation of my apartment complex.
Do you ever sterilize the stuff, like heat treated or fumigated or anything like that?
So I work with a demolition company now.
Okay.
And so it's a green demolition company, and like he's luckily around the corner from my warehouse that I've been in for 9 years. Like I'll order, like this morning he dropped off 60 2x6s because my sander's in today and he's just going to be sanding 2x6s. So these are just the framing material. There's a lot of people that I think, going back to that kind of 2 lanes, I think your average furniture designer is a 30 to 60-year-old white male, a perfectionist. It's his hobby. Like he's not thinking about like if every hour that you spend on a project, and he's really going after the top. I think the statistic now is about 75% of the United States household income is under $175,000 a year. That's a joint income. And so they really, to sell that walnut table, they can only work with that top 25 to 15% of the income. Couples out there. Most of those couples have gatekeepers. You have to work through the interior designer. So my standard 36 by 72 table, yeah, it's made out of pine framing lumber that's already dry. But I'm selling it for $750 as the starting price. Or my queen beds start at $500 with a headboard and $325 without a headboard. It's still solid wood. The engineering's good. We're not going to have warping or cupping. It's, it's sealed, all that stuff. But I don't sand the backside of the headboard. And I don't I don't finish the underside of the table. This keeps my production time down. It keeps my cost, my material down. And then I can sell a solid wood product custom made to that 50-60% of the population that's being forced into buying things from companies like Living Spaces and Wayfair, and it's all that built-in obsolescence that's not only designed to fiscally enslave people, because if it breaks, you have to keep buying so you can't get ahead. It's designed to do that.
Yeah.
And it's also allowing them to have something that's just designed to last. It's like, but they can afford it. It's a conscientious capitalist, that triangle that we talk about, fast, cheap quality, instead of, oh, you only get two. What if?
Tarts?
I don't know. I guess it automatically did that when you make the shape. What if we just took a little bit off of all three? I used a cheaper material, but not the cheapest. I built it faster, but not the fastest.
Statistics show that if it's solid wood, the chances of it ending up in the landfill are less than if it's particle board and plywood, especially with all the education campaigns that everybody in the industry are working on of stop throwing out our natural resources. This is not good. Let's start utilizing it. It stores carbon. And we're, if you compare this in the landfill, that carbon's being emitted. But if we can turn it into long-lived wood goods like what you're making, that carbon is stored perpetually. And it's not emitting toxic chemicals, toxic glue.
And all the middle way. We don't have to make the best. I don't make the best furniture. My stuff isn't amazing. There's a lot of butt joints. Okay?
But it's good.
I think I've dovetailed 0 times in the history of my company. There's some miters going on if a client asks for it. Like, I think I got a Reddit post by somebody about a year or so ago, and it was like, I'm looking for solid wood furniture with not all the extra crazy $1 million, and that they actually returned my email. And now I get tons of business like that way, because people are looking for a middle. We've gutted the middle of everything, and we don't. And so I went down the middle.
It is, a long-lived wood good. It's attractive. It may not be the fanciest thing out there, but everyday people can have it in their home.
The biggest sign in my shop says, we don't do perfect.
Love it. We have a sign about not being perfect in front of our shop as well. So we definitely don't claim perfection, but we do claim that we are constantly striving to do better today than we did yesterday. What does that look like? Yeah. That is awesome. I love your story. I work with urban wood a lot, and part of the definition of urban wood is that it was not harvested for its timber value. Not that I'm opposed to that. I came from a traditional forestry family, but I just know there is so much going into the waste stream right now. And so one of the things that we do is, the urban wood it's from an urban environment, from a standing tree, but it's also from an urban environment that was reclaimed from deconstruction, which is right up the alley of what you're working on, or the urban wood that you're working
They're doubling their income this way. Like, instead of paying for dumpster fees, they create a job for somebody to pull all the nails and stack and process it. And then they make money again when they resell the lumber. I mean, I don't understand why it's not done.
Why it's not mainstream. I think education. My heart says if we can educate enough people, they'll stop buying the big box mass-produced garbage and do the right thing. And some people won't. The reality is.
How to break through that web optimization, though, when, it's a pay-to-play world.
Right. Yeah. So is there a specific story or message, something that you really want people to understand and take away? Like, if they could take one thing away from this podcast, what would that be?
I'm going to promote Facebook.
Yeah.
On your Facebook, there's a local buy nothing group. Every neighborhood has one. You can only join one. And it has to be within your region. And it's like the new cup of sugar. It is I recently helped a friend move, and it was kind of a last minute thing, and we're throwing away toasters. And the toaster is the good analogy. And I had almost like a breakdown after this move, not because it was hard, but because we threw away so much stuff. And there wasn't, if it's $19.99 on Amazon to buy a toaster, and then you try and sell that toaster and you've got a million people on Marketplace just like, is that interested? And like, so you're spending a half an hour responding to people try to sell this toaster, which you can only sell for like $5. And if your time is worth money and you spend a half an hour, then you're making $10. It just doesn't make any sense. So you can't really sell. It's like we have so much, we are so overconsumed at this point that it is so overwhelming. And there's so much work to just get rid of your stuff, and you just need to clear out space, or you need to move and you throw it away. The buy nothing group is an answer to that, because all you have to do is just say free, buy nothing.
Buy nothing group on Facebook. I love that idea. I had no idea that
Give away your stuff to your neighbors who need it, or they might be part of a group helping homeless veterinarians that are getting placed and they need stuff to house them. It's a vehicle to give your items away so you don't put them. There's a book called Soul of Money, which I absolutely love. And it says that we don't have a scarcity problem. We try to make it that way so we're scared. So that way we hoard. What we have is a distribution problem. And we don't have a good means of distribution. So grocery stores throw all their expired things away. We see all these videos of people dumpster diving, and it's like the Christmas decorations from Michael's, and they're just throwing it in the back of their car because Michael's doesn't have the time. It costs more money to get it to a place. We need to work on a distribution problem, and one of the simplest ways is just take accountability for yourself and give away to your neighbors.
You know, we've this year I've just been decluttering my house. I don't know why, but one of the things, like a nightstand, I'm like, we cleaned out a granddaughter's bedroom, and she'd been staying with us for a while. And so we're like, we don't need the bed. We didn't sell them. We put them on our local Facebook group, but it wasn't the buy nothing page. But I'm definitely going to look at that. We just gave them to whoever needed them because we were blessed. And I just remember when my kids were little, we were like, we're, pinching pennies and trying to make everything work and do everything. And it's like, gosh, I would have loved to have been blessed with this beautiful bed when my daughter was a baby. And, now we can do those things, but I want to make sure. My husband was like, why do we have this stuff piled at the door? And I'm like, because I can't throw it away. I'm a recycling girl.
As your income goes up, your time becomes more valuable, but you also have more of these items that you're exchanging in and out. And to take that time is hard. And so it has to be efficient.
And we have a responsibility too, though. And sometimes get that we have been blessed. We worked hard, to get where we're at. And to be able to give back, I need to take time to do that. And I don't always do it. This year, I've made it my mission. And
that's a group that has helped me with my lack of time because I just put it out on a little bench in my front yard. I do a video and I'm like, come grab it.
We did that with a chair actually earlier this year. It was one of those, it's got the wooden base, but you like nurse babies in it. Not that I nursed a baby in it, but that's what we had. We had it in a bedroom, and I'm like, I don't have time to sell this, but I cannot throw it away. So I
exactly
sign on it, and somebody took it. So yay!
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's
the favorite part? Other than reclaiming and helping people get into wood furniture that they wouldn't otherwise, what's the favorite part of the actual process of woodworking that really draws you to it?
I am, from a deep down soul place, a fixer. Like, I struggle if you invite me over to a dinner party and your doorknob is loose, I will go get my screwdriver out of the car and we'll fix it. What?
What are you doing Friday night? You need to come to dinner.
I almost can't help myself. Sometimes my wife is like, oh, don't turn. We're here. Stop it. It's like an itch. I have to scratch it. So I like it. Just, you get to make something. Also, I have something called dysgraphia. I didn't really learn how to read till I was like 16. I don't hear sound in my mind. I don't have like an auditory presence. I have a silent picture show, and I can tell you how tall you are from across the road. I can look at a pile of boards and tell you how many board feet is in it by just looking at it. I can take a photo that you send me from wherever and you're like, can you make this? I can see it three-dimensionally in my mind and all the engineering inside just naturally. It just is a thing I have. And so I married a CPA. She does all the reading and writing. It's great. But um, I love when somebody comes to me and they're like, can you make this? And can you make it for a better price? So I'm going to throw something in the bus and I'm fine with it. So Design Within Reach work with Yoko. Beautiful bed with these spherical big legs on it. It's like a ball. And it's $6,500. It's solid wood and veneer, walnut and white oak. It's a beautiful bed. Amazing design. Lady came to me and then she's like, I don't know about you, but this doesn't seem like a Design Within Reach. I don't have $6,500 for a queen bed. Can you make this cheaper? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put a spin on it because I'm not going to copy them directly. Let me go figure out, I got to source, a 8x8 or 10x10 beam, and I got to go talk to my turner. How much is it going to be to make each wall? And I make that bed for $1,350 for a queen and $1,550 for a king. And the design is slightly different, because, well, you don't want to like copy somebody directly, but now it is a Design Within Reach. Creating exclusivity through design is one of the things that I love to fix. I don't like that. It's a veneer, like $6,500. I'm sorry, the markup on that is like insane. Okay, like I don't understand where, like, I know there's lots of costs that they have that I don't have, but still. And what it's done is it's like, I got this bed. Look at me. I'm carrying a Birkin bag. I'm better than you. You can't. And it's just like, when I get to take a design and make it within reach to a normal person because they like it, not because they're trying to look rich, but because that brings me so much joy.
Yeah, you're able to bring something, and more power to the people who can get the 6,500. They may have, very expensive wood in it. Who knows? But being able to have both options and options for every person to have wood that isn't going to furniture that isn't going to go into the waste
Making it accessible to the average income individual brings me a ton of joy.
That's wonderful. I love that. Yeah. And you're still doing it in a small business, entrepreneur, local economy kind of a way. So
here's a unique thing about my business. I do service all of California now. I have 3 locations, but I don't ship. And I won't ship, and I won't ever ship as a company, and neither of my branches will ship.
So tell me about your 3 locations. Are these stores where people can go in and shop?
No, we don't pre-make things because the cost of having something pre-made doesn't make sense. I created something called a Build-A-Bed inspired by Build-A-Bear. So if you go on my website, you can say design here, and it starts out, it gives you a form and it says, I want a queen, starts at $500, and it gives you options for the headboard. Then it's like style of the frame, how much space underneath. Do you want nightstands attached to the side? Do you want those to have 1 drawer or 2 drawers? Do you want drawers underneath? And you, like Subway sandwich, you build a bed. And all of the pricing is there. That then goes to the region that it's supposed to go to. And then we then send you back images of things that we've made in the past. You can also attach photos, and there's a place to leave notes if you have something that doesn't quite fit into that mode or of like all the steps of the Build-A-Bed. It's unique to that. And then from there, after we've gone through everything and the design is set, then we build the bed and then we deliver it. And we send you images and videos along the way so you get to watch the process happening. About 80% of the time, 90%, I do not take deposits. That's controversial. If you're communicating and the client is agreeing the whole time and you text them before you start, like very, very, very rarely have I ever had anyone bail.
So, but you have had people bail on that.
Yeah, but I do 1,000 clients a year and I have maybe one a year. And if somebody doesn't like it, you sell it to somebody else, or like a side rail is the same size for every king or queen bed. They're 81 inches, or you just take and you put that back on the rack. Yeah, it's been color, but people don't, it's not at the end. They're communicating with your builder.
Got it.
And so I do all of Southern California. I have somebody who does like Monterey to Palo Alto, and then from Palo Alto to the Oregon border.
Great. That's cool. And it's good that you found a way to where people don't have to pay until the end. That would terrify me, but I'm so glad it's working for you, and your belief in humanity.
Assume the best of people. They actually rise to the occasion.
You give them a good reputation to live up to, and they live up to it.
If so, you take deposits for a couple reasons. One, you need the operating money to build it.
Yeah.
I won't run a business that way. If I can't pay myself to build this, and I'm not going to take that risk. Okay, I know that this is specific to me. That doesn't work for everybody. My cost of production is lower. Like if I'm doing something out of teak or white oak, I will take a deposit then because I have a big upfront cost. Okay, then secondly, you're like, I'm assuming you could be the worst version of yourself and you're going to take advantage of me. So I'm going to protect myself before you can. And so one, I don't need the money to start the project. And two, I don't want to start a relationship with a potential client assuming the worst of them. I want to start a relationship assuming that you are an awesome person.
That's great out.
One other thing I want to piggyback on with the shipping company, because it's like, look, I understand shipping is important and people do that. But once you take your green product, you have to bubble wrap it. You have to put it in a big plywood box, and then you have to put it on a diesel truck. Are you green?
There can definitely be a case made for that. Yeah, yeah. When we
See, my heart, I can't do that.
well, and you got to follow your heart. That's important. We were trying to make an affordable table here because we don't typically make things, but we partner with other people using urban wood who do. So we have this table. It comes apart. It breaks down, and we were trying to ship it. And I'm like, only green materials to ship with. Well, it became so heavy.
Yeah, then it's like you're paying so much money and like just the cost to wrap it in plastic.
Right.
And I don't want to wrap things in plastic.
Yeah. We do people always wonder because we run Woodmiser dealership here as well. And so when we're shipping stuff out, I don't buy boxes. I do not buy boxes. I take whatever boxes have come in from product or material to us or all these different all the employees, all the staff. We bring the recycled boxes in and we use that. And when people ask, we say, why? Why would we buy another box when we already have this box?
When people pick up and I need to send them home with screws, it's like a bag from my house. Whether that was the bag from my bagels or it was an Amazon package. Like,
Right.
we try and reuse it. Here's, they're like, what, bagels? And I'm like, the screws are in the bottom. It's a bag.
Take my home address off the Amazon package before you ship it. That's the shipping rules. Yeah. So how funny, how funny. Well, I have enjoyed having you on, getting to hear a lot more about your story. Is there one thing that either myself or the Woodpreneur community at large could help you with that maybe you're struggling, some challenge that you have going on right now that uh, sometimes putting more than one mind to something helps come up with something great and amazing. So is there anything for you on that, Marge?
The where I've struggled consistently for the 14 years that I've had It's Not Trash is I want to pay my staff a living wage. I also want to allow them to control their time. Time is our only non-renewable resource. You cannot make
Right.
more of it. And so I don't control my staff's time. They come and go when they want. There's treating each other with respect. Like, hey, I can't make it. This is going to be my schedule this next week. And so that way I'm not messing up my future schedule with my clients and when I've said I'm going to have projects done and stuff like that. But like, how do I make more money as the owner, which I should, pay the staff a living wage, but also keep the prices in that space? Balancing those three has been the challenge that I have had since the beginning. And it made it even more difficult when SB5 passed in California, because I used to 1099 like all of my stuff. A lot of actors and creative people, musicians would come work for me. They came from Ohio. They grew up on a ranch. Their grandfather was a carpenter. They had these skills. And instead of working at, Starbucks or driving an Uber, they came and go and worked for me. And so I just 1099 them, and they had a job that they could come and go at, but I can't. I have to W2 everybody now. You can't do 1099 in California, which means payroll taxes and workman's comp and all those things. And I'm glad that I do that now, because then they're protected from getting hurt and all those things. But I can't even give them that choice. Allowing them to control their time, keeping my prices reasonable. So then that way I'm not excluding people from entering the solid wood furniture market, but then allowing them to be able to support their families. And the cost of living has gone up so much.
The cost of living and inflation is going up faster than most small businesses can
keep track of it.
Right. It's a struggle. I know it's not unique to California, but I do feel like it's worse in California. The cost of living here is through the roof.
The only answer I've come up with is that once at a certain point, your fixed costs get met. And then your profit starts going way up per item. Once I hit a certain number, then the staff each staff member has their own amount that they have to do hourly production. And at that point, then I bonus them and give them additional money, because I'm making more per hour now, and I kind of split that with them. But then there's still problems with that. So any ways that other people take care of their employees.
So one of the things that we've done in different situation, because we're not building furniture with some of the stuff that I'm managing, but some of the ways that I've been able to combat that is to allow, and we've done the flexible schedule. Some people were like, I just can't work Mondays. So we have that for what? So we've worked around things like that, but we're not doing that as much at the moment. But everybody, needs the income. So they want to be here as much as they can. But one of the things that we've done is incentivizing based upon production within a certain time frame. And sounds like you're kind of doing that, but finding compensation. So we do, on some of the staff, we do a base wage, that we're covering the legality of it, of making sure that they're meeting the minimum wage. It's not even minimum. It's even more than minimum, but $5 within minimum wage, $5 over. And then on top of that, getting incentivized based upon production that they do within a specific period of time within a specific job. And that's one of the ways that we have some people who really want to next level it, and they're like, I gotta make, they have an opportunity to do that. They have an opportunity
It gives them some control.
It gives them control of their own income. And that's one of the things that's worked well for us, is giving people control of their own income. It's hard if you have somebody at this salary to drop them down on the hopes that they can do that. That's a little harder.
Yeah.
But on that uphill climb, it's like, okay, boy, this last year was tough. Actual dollar increment raises, maybe we're holding off on those and we're going into more of a commission based. You got to look at, what's your specific benchmarks that you can track within that.
I actually really like that. So it's working that in, because I'm like, I can't just flip the script now with Rafa, who's been with me for 9 years. But
But it's a way to increase.
next year's increase would be based around I like that.
You report it. They're participating in their own income. They're participating in their own production, and they're helping you get things out the door more quickly because they're incentivized to do so.
Yeah, because if it's a fixed circle and then you get a pie slice and then production's a pie slice, if they want more of the slice, it's going to come from you. So you have to give less, and then you're like, at a certain point, you're like, am I making any money, or am I just making jobs?
But it's more possibility.
But if you make a bigger pie, then there's more slice to go around.
And if you can get more jobs done in the same amount of time, you're helping more people get into affordable furniture. And if you have those incentivization projects or pay structures in place, they're making more money and you're making more money too. So that's one of the ways that we've done it. It's not perfect. There is no
There's no
perfect.
perfect. But
Yeah.
turnaround with your staff is more expensive than taking care of your staff.
Yes, yes. And plus I like these people. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, they're like, when you're a small business, not all of them, and some people say there's toxic with like family, but like at my shop it is. Like we're friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Only four
care about
carpenters.
you care about them. You care that they're able to take care of their families and go on vacation and not have this huge disparity between everything. And so
One of my carpenter's son is interned with me for a couple years now, and he's just started college, and I made him read Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's first generation. His dad was from El Salvador. Like it was like perfect for him because like he's going to school, but he still doesn't understand the difference between an asset and a liability. He didn't understand that I grew up without, we're taught about finances from our families, and then you get the generational poverty because if your parents have no money and they're teaching you about making money, you're not going to make money. And so,
get a better job, get more education. It's like, well, there's more to it.
yeah, and that was the rule. I'm like, if you're going to intern with me, I'll teach you how to woodwork with your dad, but every week you have to read a chapter of this book and we have to discuss it. And then we have to talk to a financial planner with the money afterwards, and a certain percentage of it has to be invested from the internship. And that was the rule.
Yep. 2 years ago, we gave our kids, my husband and I gave our kids and our two oldest grandkids that book. And we're like, read it and let's talk. And yeah.
A really good like base foundation for just understanding money as a tool.
Right. Right. Yeah. I love it. All right. Well, it has been great having you on. So many great insights. Marji, where would people be able to connect with you on social media? What's your website? Give us that information so that people can connect to you and hopefully get into some great furniture at a great price.
Yeah. So website is itsnottrashdesigns.com. If you Google It's Not Trash, I do come up. I have fairly decent web optimization. There's Instagram and TikTok. I also have, I don't know, between Yelp and Google, at least 400 or 500 reviews. So you can find us that way. One side thing, I do get people from Ohio that contact me because they see a design and I'm not going to make that. So if you want to reach out to me and say, hey, if you get any of those, Unbev, a Windle out in Pennsylvania, I send him business. Like, I want to know other local people that I can be like, hey, here. Because sometimes finding a local carpenter is hard because you guys are great carpenters, but you're shit at business. And so no one knows how to find you. And so even me, like Googling carpenters or putting carpenters on Instagram, trying to find somebody to like send somebody to, I'll take the time to do that. But if I've got connections, I'll send you the business because I don't want it. I'm not going to take it.
Yeah, you get shipped. So yeah.
Yeah, but as long as you're not a high-end carpenter, you're wanting to be attainable, like more like my business model, because those are the people that are finding me. Somebody who's trying to spend, no more than $1,000 on a queen bed. Like, they don't want walnut, they just don't want particle board.
So they don't want storage, but they don't have to have the highest end, or maybe can't afford it, maybe don't want it, So yeah, that's great. Well, I love what you do. I love that you're reclaiming. It fits very much in with what we're doing. And if you're not already, subscribe to the Woodpreneur Podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. And thank you so much, Marji, for being on today. Everybody reach out to Marji, follow her social media, and I will see you next time. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.